Hey, welcome back to the Big Red Zone. We are very excited for today's show. Remember, new episodes come out every Wednesday, so make sure you subscribe to our Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Quest to 100 subscribers on YouTube is still going on. We're so close. Be that 100th person, as Danny Football says. Leave us a rating on iTunes, and be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Big Red Zone, and tell a friend. Keep helping us grow that pod. Today, we got a lot to talk about. Bracket madness. If you filled out a bracket, you're probably out of your pool by now. Huge upsets in the March Madness bracket. We'll get to that. Patriots continue to make a splash in free agency. Celtics continue their downward spiral. And the Red Sox are getting ready to start up their season next week. All that and more on this week's episode of the Big Red Zone. Welcome to the podcast. This is the Big Red Zone. I'm your host, Big Red. As always, I am joined by Danny Football. And producer John is not here today.
Why is that? Tell the people.
Producer John is sleepy. He just worked his first day at his job. So congrats to producer John.
A job that he got for all the good hard work he does here on the Big Red Zone.
That's right. So congrats to John. Leave a comment. Give a comment.
Leave some congratulations for good old producer John. He works his butt off on the videos and everything, and he
deserves it.
He's done it. He's done it.
He deserves the praise of the people. Give it to him. Other than that, it was a big week in sports. Funny thing, not really funny, but I was looking back at the old podcast dates and numbers and stuff. 1 year ago this week was the week that we took off in between going into quarantine. Next week was our first Zoom episode. So we're going on a year of the Zoom Chronicles.
A whole trip around the sun.
Whole trip around the sun. So it's crazy. Crazy to think it's been a year. But with that said, last year, something that we didn't have at this time, March Madness. Danny Football, I know I don't even have to ask. How's your bracket doing?
My bracket's not in the best shape. That being said, I didn't watch a second of college basketball until the conference games. So that's on me. I didn't, you don't study, Big Red. Sometimes you fail the exam, and I'm failing the exam right now. I had UConn in the Elite Eight. They were out in the first round. I had West Virginia going to the Final Four. They're out. So, hey, like I said, if you don't want to do the work, sometimes it bites in the ass, and that's what happened in my bracket.
But I think even someone that watched every single game of college basketball.
That's a good point. It's been complete chaos, man.
Oral Roberts, the true underdog story this season, a 15 seed is going to the Sweet 16. That's unheard of.
If you told me that was a college before the tournament started, I wouldn't have believed you.
Let's look at the Midwest four in the Sweet 16. We got Loyola College, Loyola Chicago, who we were talking before is a wagon. They're underrated, but I don't understand why, because they keep growing every year. Obviously,
they have Sister Jean, dude. God's literally on their side.
Hey, anyone helps. Anyone extra will help in the March Madness tournament. You got the number 12 seed, Oregon State. Who would have seen that one coming?
Out of nowhere, man.
And then you got Syracuse, who we said Matt Gedman from last week did not believe in Syracuse. I said they have the power to make it to this point. They always find a way to sneak into the Sweet 16. They're in it against Houston, which had a gritty win last night. I forget who that kid was.
Oh, it was against Rutgers. I thought you were going to ask who was it against.
No, they played against Rutgers, but that kid who had the hip pointer who played through it, that was unbelievable. And it was a good comeback too. So that was probably one of the better games I've seen so far. But yeah, you have an 8, 12, 11, and 2 in the Midwest. And then Oral Roberts.
15 and 3.
It's
Razorbacks. Big Red was doubting my Razorbacks, but they've been limping through these first two rounds.
I can't wait for Oral Roberts to kick their butt in the Sweet 16.
Go Pigs. Go Pigs.
You're not going to root for the Oral Roberts? Underdogs.
No, not against Arkansas, dude.
You're a big Arkansas guy. That one book report back in the day.
That one March Madness project back in 6th grade, dude. I'm a Razorback for life.
Like I said, the big ones were UConn. You kind of mentioned that was I can't believe they lost that game. Purdue, I wanted to throw my TV through the gosh darn window. At the end of the game, I chucked my water bottle across the room. I was so upset. They just played. You want to talk about a gutless performance by a team? That was it. They missed free throws down the end of the stretch. They couldn't get a stop. It was ugly.
Texas was a bad one too.
And Ohio State, Texas too. That was a bad one. Ohio State, I was thinking, is the one that everyone's talking about. That was a pretty bad loss for them too.
I only have 1, 2, 3, 4. I only have 5 Elite 8 teams left.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I have 4. I have 4.
Rough goings, man. Rough goings.
But I do have that's not no. There's no positive. I have 2 of the final 4 left. But I could have 1 of the champion, depending on how far we go. But, crazy March Madness bracket. Right now we have some games going.
Michigan's down 6.
No. For the love of God.
I'm all the way out if Michigan loses.
Yeah, Michigan loses, I'm pretty much donezo.
Also, credit, I don't know if he listens. He might. But credit to the kid in the Instagram comments who started crapping on Michigan because he's an Ohio State fan and then promptly got beat by Oral Roberts. He owned it, though. I got to give him credit. He owned it.
Luke was our listener. He did own it. He retracted his statement. So
all love, brother. All love.
Hey, we're all in the same boat, Luke. Everyone's losing this year. I said we're going to find out who wins the March Madness pools in the Sweet 16. Everyone's going to be done. But yeah, it's just a crazy year. Arkansas survived it. 2 of them you mentioned. Two close games, man. 2 close games. And I guess what I have to say, who do you got going forward? Who do you think's has a good chance of winning this tournament?
I mean, looking at who's left and who's looked the best, I think Loyola Chicago has honestly looked like one of the better teams, man. And that 8 seed seems to have worked out in their favor, honestly. I mean, they should have had a higher seed, but considering who they got matched up with, they've just been trucking these last 2 games. Yeah,
I have to agree with you there. Like everyone believed, Gonzaga has been an absolute wagon. They scored 98 points the first game, 87 against Oklahoma the second game. They're playing Creighton in the next round. They've been a wagon, but I just firmly believe that their luck is going to run out. I think eventually their luck's going to run out. A team to look at is Baylor. Like, Baylor's an underrated team. They look good. They score. They play good defense. That's a team to look out for. But if I had to pick a team that I hope wins this whole tournament, is Loyola. I like the underdog. Speaking of which, let's get into our next segment on March Madness. We're going to keep with the theme of like last week. We're going to get to picks of the week. Picks of the week. So for picks of the week, we're going Sweet 16 edition. We're each going to pick a game in the Sweet 16. Granted, some games are not determined yet, so we're basing this off of the games that were already determined. So, Danny Football, who do you got for the Sweet 16?
Last week, I went with the easy one. I took Baylor over Hartford just because I wanted to see Hartford get their asses kicked.
I do want to say, do you want to give a little behind the curtain information?
What do you got?
You bailed yourself out.
I did.
Because your original pick was UConn
over Maryland, and that did not end well at all.
So you changed it at the last second. You bailed yourself out, which I'm kind of disappointed.
Although if UMass Lowell had made it, I would have been dead wrong. But regardless, they kept my Riverhawks out. But this week, I'm going to give you something big red. I'm going Syracuse over Houston. Go Orange, baby. Go Orange. Let's go.
I love Syracuse. Usually this is where they tap out, though. But if they win, I would love it. I want all the top teams out of this tournament. Gonzaga got to go. I want all the youngins. I want all the lower underdog teams being in this tournament. With that said, I'm going Loyola over
Oregon State.
Oregon State. I don't know why I wrote Oregon, Robert. Or over Oregon State. We just for the same reason. I like their story. They've been improving every year. They look really good in the first couple rounds. So I'm gonna go Loyola over Oregon.
Yeah, they didn't just beat Illinois, dude. They beat Illinois.
Yeah, they went out and beat a number one team in their side of the bracket
by 13, dude. That's just not winning on a buzzer beater. That's controlling the game.
Yeah. So I'm going. I'd like to see them win, and I hope they continue their winning ways going forward in the tournament. Moving on. With opening day just over a little over a week away, when this episode comes out, it comes out on Wednesday, and the opening day is a week from Thursday of this week. It's almost time, Danny Football. It's
the boys of summer are almost coming out, baby. It's almost time.
It's almost time to get back.
This is another huge one for me. Spring is March Madness and spring is opening day, dude. And we missed both things last year and it killed me. I'm ready for opening day.
I'm excited. And there was a couple surprises. Number one, I'm going to start off with some positive because positivity sandwich we got here. Erod was named starter for opening day. He has looked amazing.
Improved to 3-0 today.
He's looked really good. He's had a crazy year. He's had a tough year.
Dude, a year ago, he literally could not walk because he got COVID. He got it that bad.
And a year later, he's starting opening day. He's going
to start opening day, and he deserves it, honestly.
He does. He's the best pitcher on that staff. I'm excited to get him back and get him at the top of the rotation. And I'm excited to see what he's got for opening day. He deserves it. Looking at now, here's the question marks here. I'm kind of surprised that some of the misses on this opening day roster. Number one, Michael Chavis. He's been raking in spring training. He's been absolutely raking.
So, I mean, I love Ice Horse. I love Chavis. When he first came up, I thought he had a really good April, and had he kept that trajectory, he could have made a case for Rookie of the Year, but obviously he fell off. Dude, it's just a case of they have so many guys that play second base or can play second base. He's just the odd man out. That's all it is. I mean,
well, it came between him and what's his name? Wasn't it Arroyo? It was between him and Arroyo for Kiki. That last spot. Well, Kiki was going to make it regardless, but for that last spot, it was between I think him and Arroyo.
Well, what I'm saying is, like, they already had so many people last year that he was struggling for games, and they brought even more people in.
Yeah.
So he was kind of. I'm not going to say he was doomed from the start, but I mean it was an uphill battle. Credit to him, he did everything possible he could to make the roster in spring training. Like you said, he was raking. And he raked today again. I think he had another bomb today. But
I think he was tied with my boy over at first base, which is probably the reason he's down to start the year, Bobby D.
Yeah.
I think he is tied for him for most home runs, or maybe even went ahead of him today.
Right. He did everything he could to try to make the roster, but it's just a case of there's so many guys ahead of him. He's going to have to hope for an injury or, maybe other guys slumps and he gets a chance, but it sucks. It sucks because he had that first month up, dude. He was lights out.
Now, what do you think about Tanner Houck? Tanner Houck missed the.
That was surprising for me. That was surprising. I thought he was going to make the roster, not had a chance. I thought he was going to make the roster. I see it as a move that he's gonna come up at some point between Evaldi and Richards. He's going to be able to come up and get some starts because those two aren't going to stay healthy.
Right.
So it's not a case of Chavis where he just got bounced out because there's so many guys. He's going to have an opportunity. It just sucks that it's going to have to come at the expense of someone who gets hurt.
The other couple that those are the two that I was mainly surprised about. Like you said, Chavis wasn't as big of a surprise because there's so many. He's a utility guy, and there's a lot of people that are utility guys. But he just based on the fact he's like raking the spring, I'm surprised they didn't give him the shot. And plus, he's been here before. He knows
right.
Like they know what he can do. Hauk was kind of a big surprise for me because they were talking about him being the 5th starter. Cora made it clear that he doesn't want him coming out of the pen. He's going to be a starter. So I was like, great, we need arms. There was that whole rumor where they were going to go like 6 starters or 7 starters, like do a 7-starter rotation. I think he had a kind of a tough start to the spring. So maybe that had something to do with it. But
yeah, that definitely could have factored into it. His command was a little off during the spring.
But he's a stud. Like you said, I think he's going to make a run at some point up at the big leagues this year.
He did. I mean, if any pitcher has a chance to stake their claim, it's going to be this year, especially with Sale seemingly not coming back until the summer.
Right. And the couple that I wasn't too surprised about were obviously Connor Wong, who really impressed this spring. He's going to be in Pawtucket, Worcester. Sad to say, R.I.P. to Paz. Paz is out of a job. He's going to be in Worcester. Duran, who had a really good I'm not too surprised because he's young.
Right.
Probably want to save those years on his option years. So I'm not surprised about him, but he's a guy that could potentially make an appearance at some point this season.
Definitely.
Because he was excellent this spring. Those are the couple guys also. And Arroyo and Frenchie made it, which I was like, I'm not surprised because they did pretty well this spring. And obviously they are new guys that I brought in with some experience. But, yeah, like those guys, I was like, those were with the Chavises of the world where I was like on the cusp of saying, Frenchie, not really, because he's more of an outfielder. And they needed like that other outfielder. But Arroyo was kind of on that Chavis bubble that I wasn't too sure on.
If anything, it shows how competitive this team is going to be, man. They're going, they have a good collection of guys, and they're going to be able to take a step forward this season, I think.
Exactly. And that brings us to prediction for the season. What do you think? What do you think this team is going to be come the end of the season?
I think they can definitely grab at least one of the 2 wild cards. I don't think they're going to be able to take the division, especially with how the Yankees are loaded. The Blue Jays made a ton of moves. The Rays are coming off the World Series. I know they lost a couple guys, but the core is still there. So I can see him grabbing a wild card. It's going to be a tough season. It's not going to be easy. It's not like we're going to go on 100, I'm not going to say 100 wins, but I think we can contend at least.
I agree. I think realistic expectation for this team is making the wild card, one of the 2 wild card spots. So I'm hoping for it. I think they can definitely do it. I think this team is built to do that, and we'll have to see what they do. But I'm excited. Opening day is so much fun for every team in the MLB because it's like it's a fresh, clean slate. Everyone's 0-0. Like we saw last year with the Rays, they made a run to all the way to the World Series. So it's like any team can win it. Like it's like everyone's on
except for the Orioles, apparently.
The Orioles have their troubles. They probably won't win. Side point: did you see that banner or that billboard that they put up in front of?
I don't want to talk about that. God damn it!
Yeah,
that's a swift kick in the balls.
Yeah, what a bunch of scumbags out in L.A. Can't you mind your own business?
Never enough. It's never enough with those people. They always need more.
You know what? I like to think like we've been through a heck of a year this year with the pandemic and stuff. Can't we just be nice to each other? Why do we got to kick each other when we're down?
I think this just shows that we're slowly on our way back when LA starts pulling this bullshit.
Yeah, they're very upset that the Red Sox are about to win the World Series. Patriots are on their way back. We still we didn't put a Hunter Henry banner out in L.A. when we took him from the truck.
All right, guys, start donating to the Big Red Zone Fund. We're going to put a Hunter Henry billboard outside of L.A. There we go.
And it's going to say, thanks for Hunter Henry.
For Hunter Henry,
you can donate to my Venmo at Big Red.
Oh, there we go.
If you're interested in hitting the Venmo, let me know. Yeah, what a bunch of scumbags they are, huh? Just like
nothing better to do, man.
Can't leave. That was about a year ago. Let's nothing better to do. Bunch of scumbags. Moving on. Let's move on to the Celtics, which is not too much more positivity that we have. Danny Football put in here 2-4 since the All-Star break. Like it's even worse going back before then. Like we're in a bad downward spiral. I laugh because I look at like ESPN and Sports Center and like those pages, and they post like who's the best contender duo. In the beginning of the season, it was nothing but Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They're not even on the list anymore. Who's going to be the contender to win the playoffs? They're not. The Celtics aren't even on the graphics anymore because they're how bad like they've been playing, and something needs to change. There's so many guys out there for like that have a decent price tag on them that we can afford, that we should be going after, and it's getting ridiculous that we're not doing anything about it. Like I really am. The trade deadline's coming up in like a week, I think. I think it's this week. I could be wrong.
I believe so.
Fact check.
I'll fact check.
But we need to do something. We're not a contender right now. There's a reason we're not on those sheets. We're not those graphics, not sheets. The graphics. We're not a contender right now. There's like no. I don't have any confidence in this team going into the playoffs.
The trade deadline is
the way the roster is constructed.
The trade deadline is March 25th, this Thursday.
So a day after this episode comes out.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so many guys out there. I'm just going to list some of the guys out there that we've heard. Danny Football, after I'm going to ask you who you're interested in, who and what you're thinking. But we have Lonzo Ball, who's rumored, the price tag actually was rumored for him as a young player and a first-round pick.
Interested.
Obviously, we know Barnes is out there.
Interested.
I'm very interested. Aaron Gordon.
Interested. Very interested now.
I didn't put this down, but Vucevic.
Interested.
Collins and Bogdanovich, which is starting to heat up.
Very interested.
Victor Oladipo.
Somewhat interested.
And Grant.
Yeah, interested. I'd say Oladipo is the lowest on that list, but Aaron Gordon, interests me the most because he did formally request a trade today.
Yeah. Apparently he requested a trade, I heard, in February. They just never really did anything about it. I thought I saw that report come out today. I saw that he officially requested a trade. The one I'm really interested in that I think the Celtics should put at the top of the list of things to try to get done, Danny, I'm speaking to you, is the rumor of the Hawks trying to trade Collins and Bogdanovich. If you can get both those guys, that changes the whole outlook on your season. You get your scorer off the bench, and you get your big, that's like a rebounding defensive, like that big main player to come in and fill that void. And they need it. Like that's going to help your team. But I don't care what movie makes really at this point, as long as Jason and Jaylen aren't in it. I just want them to do something. Trade a young player and a pick for another player. Like give me Jeremy Grant. Give me something. Make some kind of move. It doesn't have to be huge. Do something.
I just want to reiterate something that we kind of touched upon when Jack was on. I know Jack was optimistic. He said, wake me up when the Celtics are in the Eastern Conference Finals. We have plenty of time. And I said it then, and I'll say it now. We're running out of time. I can't remember how many games were left when we did that episode, but I mean, even now, 2-4 since the All-Star break, man, that's another 2 games below 500. If we keep on this trajectory, we're not even going to make the playoffs. So, I mean, should this team be better? Yes. Can this team play better? Yes, they can. But they need help. The team that is playing on the court right now is not going to contend at all. Not even close. They need to bring in pieces. Now, that if Danny wants to do that, great. If he doesn't, then he's failing this team.
Well, that's kind of what we've been saying all year long. Even in the beginning when we had some struggles, then we picked it up. Then in the end, we went like winding down in this time, the last like month or so, we've said the one thing that we were saying in the beginning was we're not worried because this team isn't going to be the team at the end of the season. There's going to be some move made. That shiny trade exception is going to be used.
Right.
That we're going to get this marquee player. We're going to use picks. We've been saying that we're going to do this. The time is running out for that. And now they're saying we may not do that till the offseason.
There's a very real
zero shot.
There's a very real chance we listen back to this episode on Thursday with Danny having done nothing, and this is the team that's going to finish the year.
It's a very big possibility. And they're not even doing anything with the buyout people.
Right, and the fact that it's possible pisses me off because that shouldn't even be on their mind. They know how bad this team is playing right now. They need something. You can't stand pat right now. It's bad.
Now, I think what you said right there was key. They know how this team isn't built to win.
Danny said it himself in the interview. He said that
can't win.
Right.
So, as a fan, and I love Danny, I think, he's won a championship. He's brought a lot of great players here. He's made a lot of great teams. But at what point does he start taking – I'm done with blaming Brad Stevens. The team isn't good enough to win, right? So at what point do we start blaming Danny? Danny needs to start getting the blame. He's the longest tenured GM in the league probably, right?
Probably. If I had off the top of my head, probably there might be one other person that I'm not thinking of. Maybe in San Antonio.
And he's won one championship.
Maybe San Antonio GM. I don't even know who that is, but maybe the San Antonio GM. I'm not even sure. But he's won one championship, and he's gotten a lot of mileage off of just that one championship. So, and I think I said it in our season preview. If they fail this season, that's on Danny, man. That's on Danny. He made the moves he did in the offseason. He didn't make the moves he didn't make in the offseason. Dude, if this team completely falls apart, it's on him. It's on him.
I'm just beyond irritated. And you're right. He's got a lot of mileage out of that one championship. Then he got a lot of mileage out of that big Brooklyn trade. What has that Brooklyn trade done? I get he's brought a Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Don't get me wrong. He's done that was big time move, but he never capitalized on it. Right? He's we haven't won a championship and it sounds silly because other teams haven't won either, but they've gone through 20 GMs and coaches in the last 20 years. We've been through two coaches, and we got the same GM. We won once.
So, I mean, we've gotten to the Eastern Conference Finals, a good amount of times consistently, but it's being able to get over that hurdle and get to the finals, which justifies everything that you've done. There's not much they can do this season that can justify what he did in the offseason. I mean, I love Danny too. I was trying to be as positive as I possibly could about this team. It's not looking good right now, and it's not looking like it's going to get much better unless they do make a move. I don't want to call for Danny's head yet.
Not looking good. Not looking good. We're blowing games. We look like a JV basketball team out there. We look terrible. We need to, and it's not these guys' fault. It's not the guy's fault. It's just the team isn't built to win. It's it isn't. Jason has to play 40 minutes a game, 45-minute game every night. That's not unfair to him. Jalen's got to play 30-something minutes. They got no depth on their team whatsoever. Danny didn't do a good job building his team. And I kept saying it's because he's not done yet, but like you said, it's a real possibility he is done building this team for this year. And what are we going to do? We're going to go into next year's draft. We're going to talk about who we're going to trade up for or who we're going to trade picks for to get. And we're going to draft 5 new rookies. I'm done drafting this guy with the 26th pick in the draft, saying this kid's going to be good in a couple years. I want you to use these young guys in the picks that we haven't picked yet and go get me a stud. That's what I want you to do. I love Romeo Langford. I think he's I think he's going to be a great player. I want to get. Doesn't fit with what we're trying to do right now. Trade him away. Same thing with. I even say Grant Williams. I love Grant Williams. He's one of my favorite players on this team. I like how he plays. He's not going to do it for us this year. It's like we can't do it. We need to start saying, instead of planning for 3 years down the line, basketball is a very now time sport. We got to play to win now. Let's win now and let's worry about it later in 3 years when everyone leaves. Like, that's how it is. Basketball is so fluid. Like, everyone's leaving every 3-5 years. So it's like we might as well try to go all in and try to win, and then we'll deal with it in a couple years.
Yeah, I'm not sure why.
I'm just sick.
I'm not sure why Danny's so afraid to go all in, but no, you're good.
Okay. I think I may be a little delayed. Yeah, I hope Danny's ready to do something. I hope there's some move. Like, the thing that's annoying is even go get Lonzo Ball. Like, Lonzo Ball is not going to probably be the difference maker in winning a championship, but it costs nothing. It costs a first-round pick and a young player. Give him the young player in the first-round pick. Give him 2 first-round picks and no player. Like, do something. I heard today that there was who was it? I think it was in the John Collins trade. They're saying I don't like that. It was like for John Wall or something. But they wanted something like Kemba, Taco, and a pick. Like, do something.
Jesus.
I don't even know what that's like. I saw that report on Twitter today. But I want them to do some trade. That the Barnes trade, I don't think would take too much either. Like, I feel like we can get away with just doing picks and maybe a young player. Like, that's all I want. Like, if you think about it, if Danny makes this trade, makes these couple moves, he gets Barnes, Grant, and even just say best case scenario, Lonzo Ball. Grant is going to require 2 first-round picks probably, and the other 2 are probably going to be a young player and a pick, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you add those 3 players on this team, do you think that we are now a contending team?
Yes, I think maybe not dramatically improves the team, but it definitely improves the team enough that we can start winning ball games at a consistent level.
You add 3 veteran players. You add a fresh air. Like, you bring in some new fresh air. Like, right now everyone's losing and it's like kind of like a bad taste in your mouth. You bring in some fresh blood. You make it feel like a new start. Barnes is a winner. He's won a championship. Grant's a good scorer off the bench. Lonzo's a good passer and defender. I just think it makes sense. Like, I think if you could get 2 of those guys to even, like, say, forget Lonzo Ball, because I know a lot of people don't like him because of his dad, but you say Barnes and Grant, that adds something, and then maybe you can get someone in the buyouts. Like, I think they need to not, like, Danny's so focused on hitting a home run trade, and that's his downfall. He wants to get, like, he wants the Brooklyn trade. He wants the Kyrie Irving trade. He wants, like, to make everyone look silly in the Kevin Garnett trade. Sometimes you got to take an even trade or a lost trade. Like, you know what I mean? You got to take either a little less or even to get something done. I just think it's ridiculous. Instead of trying to just screw someone in a trade, let's try to get something let's get something that can help our team. I'm so fed up with this team. I really am. It's annoying to watch. It's tough to watch basketball.
It's sad, dude. It's sad.
I love the Celtics. By the way, breaking news. Give me a drum roll. Breaking news. I have purchased tickets to 2 Boston Celtics games this season.
He's going to the Garden.
I am going to the Garden. I am going with actually a nice. It's actually something I do with my mother every year. We go to. She's a big Celtics fan.
Nice.
And we're going to 2 games. We're going to the Timberwolves, and the last game of the season, I think they're playing the Wizards.
There we go. All right.
I think they're playing the Wizards.
Get back in the building, get the energy back.
Oh, it's going to be great. I think I can get one more game, so I may see if I can get one more game for the fellas. Maybe we can try to get a game in
for the boys.
It was all. I mean, we're sitting in the loge section, and it was like $100-something, which isn't too bad.
No.
So I'm excited to get back in there and pay $50 for a slice of pizza. But hopefully I can wear my John Collins jersey when he's coming in and play. That's a game-changing trade. If you get John Collins and Bogue, that's a game-changing trade.
That would be huge.
Now let me ask you this: are you in that trade? If it's that scenario right there, John Collins and Bogue. Throw Rondo in there too, because for the sentimental reasons, we have to work out salaries and who else is the picks. But if the trade is on the line, yes or no decision. If Marcus Smart is the game-changing person in this trade, do you pull the trigger?
Yep. Something has to change. I love Marcus Smart, but something has to change, man. We can't keep doing the same thing every year. Something has to change.
I think. I'm not 100%. My finger is by the trigger, Danny Football. That's where I'm at right now. I have my finger ready to pull it, but I'm not ready. But I'm to a point where you're right. Something's got to change, and it's like
it becomes what was the word I'm looking for? Degrade. It becomes just degrading at a certain point. Like you can't go from should be winning the Eastern Conference Finals to barely making the playoffs. It's a downward slope. You need to stop it.
Yeah. And we need to figure something out right now. So hopefully when people hear this episode, or we're either receiving news or the day after, whatever, if you listen to this after Thursday, that Danny actually got off his butt and made a trade. But if I'm not holding my breath, because we've done this for the last 5-6 years, waiting for a trade at the deadline, and it never happens. Danny always comes out with the same press conference. There were plenty of offers out there, but there was not the right trade, and we're not going to just make a trade to make a trade. It's like, I want you to make a trade to make a trade. I'm done. I don't care. Make a trade. Make something. Trade a pick for a player. Give me Grant. If you can trade 2 first-round picks for Grant, or a first-round pick and a young player for Grant, do it. I'm done. Give me someone. Bring in someone to help us. I need something to be a positivity sandwich, because this was just a negative negative subject. We got to close it out with
a positivity
sandwich. I should have left it with the getting tickets. That was a positive. That was a positive comment.
I tried, dude. I was looking at them, but I couldn't figure out what days I would have been able to make it.
Yeah, I picked the last game of the season because I figured that now it's going to mean something, because we can't seem to win a game, so we're going to have to win the last game.
Right.
It's also fun going to the last one. They usually do some fun things with the fans. And then I picked the Timberwolves because I figured it was going to be fun to see Cat and D'Lo. And
good point.
It was also a good day of the week too. So, but let's move on. Let's move on off this topic. We're flying through this. And this is the positive. I think this is the positivity sandwich of the night. We got NFL talk around the NFL. Let's start off with a big one. It happened the day after the episode came out. Of course, Danny Football even said it. How come all the big news breaks after we finish?
Every time, man. Death taxes and the Patriots break news on a Tuesday.
Hunter Henry. We won't spend too much time on it. But just when you thought Bill was done with
your guy, dude, your guy.
Hunter Henry is to the Patriots. I can't be more excited about it. Bill said, you guys want tight ends? I'll get you the 2 best on the market. Now, people are, you know what? I'm kind of getting fed up with people about this. Like, everyone just wants to complain. It's like now they're saying, like, we gave too much money to these guys. They're overrated tight ends. I'm like, dude, these are like, all right. I get they're not Kelsey. I get they're not Waller. I get they're not. Kittle was hurt, so I guess he's knocked down a peg. But I can say he's like they're not Kittle. But these two guys are on the next. Like if you say the tiers, like those, that's the top tier. They're right below them, right? I would say those two are on the next tier down of tight ends. Correct?
I mean, wasn't the whole thing we need to get weapons? We got weapons, and now people are complaining that we paid for weapons.
And by the way, I will say in my recent Madden encounter, I got Kendrick Bourne over, I think, 1,500 yards and like 13 TDs. So
I saw that we've tried to trade for him twice. So Bill definitely likes this guy.
He loves him. So get ready for a big year from Kendrick Bourne. I'm excited to see this kid.
I'm ready,
play.
Dude. I'm ready for this whole squad.
And I get, they overpaid a little bit for Aguilar, but Aguilar's a good receiver. He's
gets a better receiver rep. Than half the guys we have, maybe more than half.
He gets a bad rep for that stupid firefighter video, but he's not bad. It's coming off one of the his best season of his career.
No, yeah, so, it's easy to just remember him for drops.
Yeah, so relax on that. I get we didn't get Kenny Golladay. We missed out, which I was disappointed on Samuels, but he's going to Washington. He has that connection with what's his name, the receiver over there. I think he has a McLaurin.
Yeah.
I think he has a connection with McLaurin, like college-wise or something. So that makes sense. But we missed out on him. I get that. And there's still room. Maybe
Can't sign everyone, guys. Can't sign
everyone. There's not enough money in the world. And Kenny Golladay seemed to just be like up the Giants' caboose.
Yeah, he
since
just
the start of free agency.
Wanted to go there for some reason.
I don't know why. Why in the world would you want to go to the Giants? Why?
I don't know.
Like, it would be one thing if Danny Dimes proved himself last year, but he didn't. He took a step back, and all he's going to do, Danny's going to throw to Evan Ingram about 50 times a game. You're not going to get the ball. And Sterling Shepard's really good there too. So like, it's a pretty crowded wide receiving core, but that does make them better. Like he's a big ad for them. Anyway, so yeah, yes, you missed out on those guys, but I think you got two very capable wide receivers that are going to improve your room. And you got Aguilar, who's a veteran. You got Bourne, who's a great young player. You're getting Jules back, who will be nice. Like that will take some of the pressure off Jules. Mm-hmm. Obviously Myers, maybe with this like more like less pressure on him. Maybe N'Keal Harry will do something. Maybe he'll do anything. Like maybe like now. Think about it. Now, last year going into the season, Jules was your best receiver, and then it was thought to be N'Keal Harry, right? N'Keal Harry had to be that second guy.
It should have been N'Keal Harry.
But now, like, he doesn't have to do that. He can just be like the third, fourth option in the game. So maybe that will open up. Maybe he'll do more. I don't know. Maybe he'll get cut. Maybe he'll get traded. I don't know. But like N'Keal Harry as a fifth option is not terrible. And they could still add something. There's OBJs out there, like that's just hinting at being traded. Big rumor spin zone over in Dallas that they were saying that Bill was trying to trade for Gallup. So there may be some other move in the works. I don't know. But I think beggars can't be choosers. And we've been asking Bill to spend money for 20 years on weapons, and he finally does it. So I'm not for one gonna, what's that saying? What do you do, a gift horse in the mouth? What do you look a gift horse in the mouth? Isn't that a saying?
I know what you're trying to get at. I just don't know what it is.
Bite the hand that feeds you.
There you go. That's a good one.
You know what I mean? I think it's don't look a gift horse in the mouth. I think that's what it is, but I don't know why I'd look a gift horse in the mouth. But I'm not going to bite the hand that feeds me. He went out and got me Hunter Henry, which I've been asking for a year. I love it. Joano Smith, I didn't think he was going to do it, but he obviously likes him. Same thing with Kendrick Bourne. I think that like he went out and got weapons, and he looks like he's ready to spend money. Did he overpay for some of these guys? Yes, but I think he had to. Like I don't think we have the liberty. like before where we could wait until day 2 of free agency and get these guys for a little less money because we had Tom Brady as like one of the other selling options.
Right.
But so I think he's like, all right, I got to overpay a little bit in some cases, and just to make sure we get these guys. And he did that. He got us weapons, and I'm excited for next year. Like, I think there's still moves to be made, and I'm looking forward to the draft. Like, I think now I'm excited to see what we do in the draft. Like, I wasn't before free agency started. Now I'm excited because I feel like we're back to even and ready to go for in the division, and I think we can make a little bit of a run. Danny Football, any thoughts on that soliloquy that I just had? That was a long monologue I had.
I just got you back.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. I mean, I agree with the draft thing 100%. I feel like last year we had so many question marks that it was hard to get excited over the draft because we didn't know what the team looked like. We know what the team looks like now. I mean, we filled so many positions, defense and offense, that really anything we do in the draft is just icing on the cake. It's just adding more bullets to the gun. And that's why I think we should make a run at a quarterback because, Cam's serviceable, but if we can add like a blue chip guy to this group, that's even more reason to be excited about this team.
Because then you can start buying into the like after this year. Like I feel like if you get that rookie quarterback and you put him in competition with Cam, now you start feeling good because now you got a future.
Doesn't even necessarily need to beat Cam out. I mean, even if it's just
I'm fine with him backing up.
Even
Cam.
if it's just a year under Cam, I mean, depending
100%.
on who you pick up, and I've seen that they're high on Fields, and another guy that I like is Trey Lance. Both those guys, I'm not going to say they're carbon copies of Cam, but they definitely have attributes that are similar to his game. So even if they take a year under Cam, learn the offense. Similar schemes, maybe not exact the same schemes, but similar schemes, similar players. Year under Cam, you learn how to, learn the ropes, learn the offense, and next thing you know, year 2, you're ready to go.
I completely agree. I kind of like Justin Fields a little bit better than Trey Lance, but I think Trey Lance is a more realistic option for us to get, like, to pick up. Like, I feel like he would fall, but it's so weird. Like, Justin Fields is rumored to go 2 one day, and then he's rumored to go 15 the next day. Well, so it's like, it's weird.
How I took the Patriots have interest in Fields is they're going to try to do something to get up into where they think they can get him.
Oh yeah, I agree. I think
I don't think he'll fall. I think if Bill is just like, I love this guy, he'll try to do whatever he can to get him.
Yeah, I agree. I think in either case, I think they're going to trade up at least a couple spots. Trey Lance, you could probably get him. I think safe is like 10, and I don't think it takes that much to trade up to the 10. You trade your first round and like a late round pick.
Right.
So that's going to get you 5 spots up. And if it means you getting Trey Lance, and that's your quarterback of the future, I'm fine with it. Same thing with Fields. Like, I'm fine with trading your 15th round pick and maybe a little bit higher pick to get into the top 5, maybe a couple picks, and then you get Justin Fields. Like, I'm fine with that. I want them to secure their quarterback of the future. So I think we're going to do it. I really do. I believe that we're going to do it. Another one, because I got so excited, I just rolled right into the Hunter Henry. One of my favorite moments of the week, probably my favorite signing of this whole free agency, is David Andrews is re-signed to the New England Patriots.
Out of nowhere, man. Out of nowhere.
We said our goodbyes. We said we'll see you soon. And all of a sudden, the next day, that big boy comes out with the famous Wolf of Wall Street line, I'm not leaving.
Oh, my God.
He's not leaving, folks. He's taking half the money he was going to get somewhere else. So I love it. It secures up your offensive line a little bit more. I was a little nervous. I'm not going to lie, because we got Ted Karras, and he's pretty good. But I was a little nervous about our offensive line when we lost Andrews and Tooney. But now that losing Tooney stinks, like we talked about last week. But now that we got David Andrews back, I feel a lot more secure on our offensive line. Like, I feel a lot better.
We pulled into the drop-off at Logan. He opens the door. We're crying a little bit. He gets out. You're sitting there in the car. You don't want to leave. You don't want to pull out yet. And all of a sudden, the door opens. David Andrews sits back into the car.
All you hear is,
I'm coming with you.
All you hear is, Wait, you hear this on the car window.
You look over and you're like, wait,
Hear
what?
that? And
David,
that big teddy
what are you
bear.
doing? What are you doing, David? I thought you were leaving. He's like, I'm staying here. Take me
He
home.
said, you had me at hello. You had me at hello. Shout out Jerry Maguire, one of my best movies. I love it. The teddy bear stays. He's a vet. He's a captain. He's a leader on this offensive line, and he's a guy that you can count on. And like, I don't have to worry about the center position. So I'm excited he's back. He's took a pay cut, which is wonderful. And I'm excited about that. Also, we got to show our respect, Danny Football, for Patrick Chung retiring.
Hell of a career.
Patriots legend.
Hell of a career for Patrick Chung.
Can't say I didn't see it coming in one way or the other. I didn't think he was going to be on this team this year. I was close because it was like he had a big cap hit. So I was thinking maybe, but I didn't know if like the reward because of like the penalties for cutting him was going to be worth it. I obviously with Cannon, it was, and that's why we traded him away. But Pat Chung retiring, and do you think? Now here's a question. I heard this interesting little tidbit of information.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think he will be in the Patriots Hall of Fame?
I'd say so. 3-time Super Bowl champ.
I feel like every good player gets into your team.
Let me make his case. 3-time Super Bowl champ. Other than that one odd season with the Eagles, he's been with us since 2009. So
yeah,
he was on the all-decade team. And 773 tackles, averaged 4.5 sacks, 11 picks. I mean, he wasn't, Stefan Gilmore. He wasn't like Asante Samuel, but for a Patriot, he was pretty nails, dude.
When I think of him as a Patriot legend. I think he deserves it. The interesting thing will be is if Bill Parcells will get into the Hall of Fame before him. I think Bill Parcells deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, Patriots Hall of Fame, but it's going to be interesting. They don't seem to want to put him in there.
I've talked to so many older people that are vehemently against Bill Parcells being in that Hall of Fame, man. And
why? What's the argument?
They just don't like him out of principle. I don't know if maybe it's because they were our age when he was around or something like that. They just hold a grudge. That's all it is. They ask me every now and then. They're like, "Oh, what do you think about Bill Parcells?" I'm like, I mean, he kind of
one of the greatest coaches of all time.
Kind of built the culture for the Patriots before Bill got here,
right?
And then they're just like, "All right, well, I hate him." I'm like, fair enough. All right, fine. I don't know, dude.
It wasn't like he left us in shambles. Like he made us a contending team.
That was their big thing is that he was already like fielding calls to leave before the Super Bowl was even played. So.
Yeah, that's true. He had a foot out. He had both feet out the door and half his torso out the door before that game even started. But I don't know. I think he started the train rolling.
Right. He got the ball rolling.
Sometimes the conductor of the train's got to step off the train before it pulls into its last stop.
Right. Sometimes you got to change it up before you reach the destination.
Yeah, there's only so many hours that a conductor can drive a train. Before he needs to take a little napski.
He didn't want to go. He didn't want to be around for the whole ride. He just wanted to start it.
Exactly. So, but I think he deserves it. But on point, I think Patrick Chung 100% deserves it. He was like, as I said, as I talk about Andrews, he was some guy that you could trust on that in the safety position in the secondary. So he will be missed, but Duggar is just played out of his mind. So I have confidence in him. I have confidence in Jalen, the guy that they just picked up. So I'm excited. I'm sad to see him go, but I'm excited what the young guns have to say going forward. So, moving on. So you said Trey Lance is your guy. I'm more of a Fields guy. The other guy that's in the ballpark is Watson. Do we think we are going to make a move for Deshaun Watson? I know it's a little sticky right now.
It's not looking great.
It's not looking great for Deshaun Watson.
I'm not saying he didn't. I know it's alleged. Let's just say that. It's all alleged things right now.
Yeah. But
we've seen what happens when players get in, murky waters, that Bill's just all the way out.
Yeah, I think I'm officially out on Deshaun Watson.
AB, all it took was one tweet, and the dude was released.
And that's why I think we're out on Deshaun Watson. Right. I think he learned his lesson with AB. I don't think he's going to take that risk again, and especially where he can just move up and draft a young quarterback and hopefully build around him.
That being said, don't get me wrong. By the time this episode comes out, Deshaun Watson could be exonerated of everything. It could just turn out he didn't do anything wrong. But on the other side of the coin, it could turn out he has done all of these things and he's in deep shit.
Yeah.
And that's just not a coin flip you want to take at this point.
Right. Yeah. I agree. I think he's in deep, deep trouble. I don't think any team's going to want to trade for him. I think he's going to be stuck in Houston. He's lucky if he plays a game this year.
Yeah,
because he's in deep doo-doo.
He's in it, man. He is definitely in it.
Yeah, so we'll have to see on that, but yeah, I don't want to go near that fire. If I'm being honest with you. We've already, you think about it, we've already been burned once by that kind of fire.
No point in doing it.
Let me tell you something. All it takes is one time for me to put my hand on the stove before I figure out it's hot. All right? All it takes is once. I don't mess around again.
Fair.
The other big one is Stefan Gilmore. The outlook on him. It's looking more and more like he's out of New England. And it's sad to say, but if he's not going to play and he's not going to resign, we got to do something because he's the best corner in the league, right? I think it's safe to say. I think he's one of, if not the best corner in the league. He said he doesn't want to play for $7 million this year, which is what he's due. You can argue, do I think he's worth more? Yes. Did he sign a contract back then for $7 million? Yeah, I think I had this conversation with someone the other day. I get players want to play for their value. I think they should make as much money. I think that's why I love Tommy going to New England. Going to Tampa, making a bunch of money. I go where you can make money. I think you only get so many years playing football, professional sports, period. Go make your money so you can provide for your family going down the line. With that said, when you sign a contract, Bill gave you a contract, he was a pretty big free agent signing, but he signed you for that much money. Don't complain years later that you're getting only paid this much money because in the beginning, you got a ton of money for your value. Now you exceeded your contract value. You know what I'm saying? If someone signs me an unknown player and you end up doing really well, I'm not going to say there's bonuses involved, but I'm not going to say all of a sudden I deserve more money. Then you just sign a new contract. You play out your contract and sign a new one. You know what I'm trying to say? I get why he's complaining, but at the same time, you signed the contract for 5 years ago. What do you think was going to happen?
That's just the tale of time in the NFL, man. These guys sign these big contracts. Some of them are front loaded. Some of them are even. Some of them, you get paid less as it goes on. That's just how it goes. And they sign them and then they don't like it. And then they make it stink. And then, this is how bridges get burned. Where I'm at with Gilmore, will I be happy if he stays? Yes. He's former defensive player of the year. I'll never want to wishfully get rid of him. But if you're telling me we can get a player or a decent draft pick for him, I'm all for that too, dude. More capital for us.
Would you trade him for OBJ?
Yeah. No, I would do that. Yeah. I think our defense is good enough that we can withstand losing Gilmore, and I think adding OBJ would be a bigger positive for our offense.
Yeah, I go back and forth because OBJ, I don't know. It's a gamble that he's going to perform well with Cam, and Cam's going to even he was missing some pretty wide open throws last year, so it's going to be.
Yeah,
I don't know.
maybe you don't want to sell out on a wide receiver before you know what your definite quarterback plan is.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be opposed.
That's why I like the draft capital idea, because you don't have to worry about selling out completely on a guy. You get more picks that you can use to get someone that you actually want.
Yeah. We'll have to wait and see. I think there's going to be some more moves. There's still some free agents out there. One that's going to be an interesting one to watch, and I think he's being smart about the whole situation, is James White. Your running back room right now is just Sony and Damian. So that I know they like to go with that three-headed monster kind of running back room, even sometimes four, because Rexy's not signed. I'd like to see them get James White and try to get him back. But if they can't, I wouldn't be opposed to our old friend down in Tampa, Leonard Fournette. I wouldn't be opposed.
God. What a twist of fate that would be.
I wouldn't be opposed.
Fate that would be.
It would be poetic justice that he ends up in New England. Also, by the way, if you go anything according to Madden, I had a Patriots Buccaneers Super Bowl. So mark it down. Pats versus Bucks in the Super Bowl. Mark it down right now.
I'm ready.
Pats won.
We'll buy our tickets now.
Pats won too. So
all right.
So it gives you
banner, baby, banner.
Yeah, so I'm excited. Let me tell you this, I have more energy and more optimism about this Patriots team that didn't make the playoffs last year than a team that's in Boston called the Celtics that is in a playoff spot right now and made the Eastern Conference Finals last year. I have more confidence in this Patriots team than in the Celtics right now.
Sad. Who would have thought?
Well, we're going to move on to our last subject of the night, and it's a favorite. It's the people's topic.
It's the people's topic, baby! People's topic.
Okay, so reminder for people's topic, you write in every week on our Instagram and Twitter at Big Red Zone. Make sure you give us a follow. Also, you can subscribe to our YouTube at Big Red Zone. Make sure you hit the like button on this video as well as the other videos. And without further ado, I usually say producer John, take it away, but Big Red is going to take it away. I don't like this responsibility.
Michigan,
I don't like this responsibility. Michigan won?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Let's go Twitter first.
Brackets still.
Brackets are still in. Yeah, brackets are still
not all the way dead yet.
We are not dead yet. So from our buddies to the south, small state big takes. Who wins in a fight, Godzilla or King Kong?
Ooh, that movie's coming out, dude.
Yeah,
that movie's coming out.
Taking bets on who's going to win.
Now, I've been seeing things. I haven't seen like enough of the trailer to figure it out, but apparently Godzilla is supposed to be like significantly bigger than King Kong, and I think in the movie they like make King Kong like two size of Godzilla to make it like fair, I guess. But if you're talking like how it's supposed to be, Godzilla is really supposed to be able to just like step on King Kong. So I'm going to take Godzilla.
I don't really know much about this situation. But let me tell you something. I am a big fan of a dinosaur, so I do like Godzilla. But growing up, one of my favorite Disney movies is Mighty Joe Young, so I am a gorilla kind of fan, which makes it tough.
This is taking so many turns.
I'll
Well, I
I'll
love
take,
dinosaurs, but I'm a gorilla guy. But
I liked Mighty Joe Young. Great Disney movie. Who has more movies? I feel like Godzilla.
Godzilla.
You know what?
I
Dinosaurs
think.
have been. Godzilla has more movies.
Godzilla's
Really?
a god, dude. Godzilla's literally
He
a
is
god.
a god. But they've been extinct for years, dude.
Dude, and he can breathe fire. He's
Oh, that's true.
nuclear. He can
Yeah, Godzilla does have a lot going for him on his resume. So he may like producer John, he gets the job. I'm going with Godzilla.
Good question though, small takes.
That was a great question. This I can't see this whole question, but this is why we need producer John. But I'm gonna guess this comes from Dennis Bagels or Bagels, depending on how you want to say it. Fan of the show. He's going up there with Small State, Dennis, and our boy Joe Cecilia. They're our top fans. They write in every week. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Dennis Bagels or Bagels wrote, "Did you watch the NCAA wrestling finals this past weekend?" I think it says weekend. No, I did not. I'll be honest.
I did not, but I did see one of the winners from Stanford wore, I think it was the entire Stanford team. They wore their singlets inside out so that the Stanford logo wasn't showing because Stanford is cutting the wrestling program despite telling the wrestlers, if you raise the money, we'll keep it. They raised $10 million and they're still cutting the wrestling program.
What a bunch of scumbags.
That's what I'm saying, dude. The dude's a national champion for the school and they're cutting his program.
What a bunch of scumbags, those Stanford scumbags.
I also saw another wrestler. I also saw another wrestler won the national championship and both of his ACLs are torn.
Really?
They interviewed
Wrestlers are nuts.
They interviewed him and they're like, I didn't see the whole interview. I don't know how the context came up, but he's like, yeah, I blew out both my knees, but no excuses, right? And they're like, oh, what?
I think
they're built different, bro. Those wrestlers are built different.
Let me tell you something. I get a little pain in my hamstring. I'm done for the next 2 weeks. I wouldn't make it as a wrestler. Thank you, Dennis Bagels. And for our last question, Joseph _ Celia.
Bang.
Who wins in a 7-game series? The 2004 Red Sox or the 2018 Red Sox?
Ooh.
I'll say it right now. As much as I love that 2004 World Series, and I think that championship is like one of my favorites, the 18 Red Sox were a wagon.
That was
a team.
Loaded team, man.
They were like the 2004 team no one thought they were going to win. It was kind of like the 2013 World Series that people didn't think they were going to win. We were called
they were coming off the ALCS from the year before.
Who?
The 2004 team.
They were called the Idiots.
That was directly from Johnny Damon, dude. That wasn't the media calling them idiots. That was Johnny Damon calling themselves idiots.
But I think it was because like everyone didn't believe that they could win. They looked at
they're down 3-0. No one thought they were going to win.
No, but going into that series, they didn't think they were going to win.
They rolled in the ALDS, man.
Maybe, but not against. Like they didn't think against the Yankees. The Yankees is a totally different animal than the Angels.
That was the same Yankees team that took 7 games the year before.
I think it was like everyone looked at the Yankees and said this is a team that's going to be a wagon, and the Red Sox were not. So but with that said, like they won big games, they battled, but the 2018 Red Sox team, talent wise, was probably the most talented championship team of like the recent championships. It would definitely. I guess you could argue.
It would definitely be close.
The 07 roster was pretty good.
The 04 pitching staff was pretty deep, man. I mean, you had Pedro.
Yeah.
You had Pedro, Schilling. Derek Lowe was nails in the postseason, man. I know he's not like a big, you don't think high profile when you think Derek Lowe, but he was nails in that postseason. Bronson Arroyo was there. I mean, I'm not saying he's great, but it's another guy. Wakefield again. You had dudes on that team.
That 07 roster pitching staff, I think, was even better though. Like if you had to pick a pitching staff of those two championships, you had Schilling still, Beckett. I think Pedro was still for that one.
He was
Dice
gone.
K. He was gone by then?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah, he was on the he would have been on the Mets the Phillies by then, I think. I think he left in 05.
I thought he was still on the team then.
Pedro Martinez.
But even so, you had Dice K. Like you had 4 or 5 starters deep.
Mets in
that
05.
team was. He went to the Mets in 05.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't stay that long after winning the championship. But with that said, I think the 28 team, that was just like, look at that team.
I'd give them the edge. They definitely have more talent from top to bottom.
Like that team was just loaded. Pitching staff, like everything about it, I think was so much better. Here's one for you. This is a question I just thought of. Someone asked me this the other day. If you were closing out, did we have this as a people's topic? I don't know, but it's a good one if it is. If you had to pick a closer from any of the World Championship Red Sox teams, who would be what would you be your tier? Like, how would you rank them of the 4 championships?
You want me to rank?
You have
rank them or pick them?
So you have Keith Folk. You have
Papelbon.
Well, I guess you'll pick eventually if you have the first person. But Keith Folk, Papelbon, Koji, and Kimbrel.
I'd go.
Kimbrel's your. Oh,
I'd go Pap 1, Folk 2, Koji 3, Kimbrel 4.
See, solely based off their playoff runs, I'd pick Koji 1.
Koji,
I would think that was Koji. I don't think gave up a base hit in his that's something to check up because I don't think he might have given up 1 or 2 base hits the entire time he pitched in that postseason. It was like he was lights out. I've never seen anything like it. Like it was like, I'm not saying he is as good. People in the comments, take it easy. But that was Mariano Rivera-esque. Like once Mo went in the game, you're like, it's over. Like when Koji went in that series, in the World Series run in 2013, when Koji went in the game, it was over. Like I feel like it was a wrap. So I'd lean kind of Koji in that, but overall, I think Pap would probably have the edge of everyone, like as like an overall pitcher.
That's how I always viewed Pap, man. I always viewed Pap as when you heard shipping up to Boston hit, game over. Start the buses, hit the lights, it's over.
Except for 2011 or no, 2012 when he gave up that walk-off.
Could not. Oh. That's all right. He already had the ring at that point.
Yeah. He's a legend. I'm so glad. Also, side point, I know we're kind of rambling at the end of the show, but I'm excited to have those guys, Kevin Youkilis, Pap. There's a couple other guys that are joining the Nesson team, broadcasting team.
Yeah, I saw that. That's a loaded squad.
I'm excited to see those guys in the booth. Pap's a psychopath. I can't wait to hear what he has to say. But once again, I want to thank everyone for writing in. Joe Cecilia, Small State Big Takes, and our friend Dennis Bagels. Remember, you can write in every week on our Instagram and Twitter at Big Red Zone. My thanks to Danny Football again for joining. Another great episode. I hope you guys have a great week, and have a great week, everyone.